What if I told you that the most powerful pharmacy on earth isn't behind a counter, doesn't require a prescription, and has been waiting for you in gardens, forests, and even sidewalk cracks for thousands of years? Here's the thing nobody tells you. While we're spending billions on synthetic pills and complicated treatments, nature's already figured it out. Plants that can stop bleeding in seconds. Leaves that calm your racing mind faster than you can finish a cup of tea. Roots that ancient warriors used to keep fighting when they should have collapsed. And the craziest part? Most of these plants are probably growing within a few miles of where you're sitting right now. This one tip might change your life. But that's just the start. Subscribe to take control of your health. Today, I'm going to walk you through 20 medicinal plants that work so fast, it almost feels like magic. We're not talking about waiting weeks to feel something. We're talking about relief that hits before you can even say, pharmaceutical company. But here's the twist. Some of these plants are ones you've walked past 1,000 times without a second glance. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at them the same way again. Let's dive in. Visual transition for Act 1, the Emergency Healer's Introduction. Picture this. It's ancient Greece, and Achilles, yeah, the legendary warrior with the famous heel, is standing over a wounded soldier. Blood is pouring from a deep gash. No hospitals, no ambulances, just chaos and dust and the smell of iron in the air. So what does he do? He grabs a plant, crushes it between his palms, presses it against the wound. The bleeding slows, then stops. That plant was yarrow, and it's still growing wild in meadows and roadsides all across North America and Europe today. Here's what's wild about yarrow. It contains compounds called achillin and tannins that literally cause blood to clot faster. We're not talking theory here. This is chemistry you can see with your own eyes. Fresh yarrow leaves, crushed and applied to a cut, can stop bleeding within minutes, sometimes seconds. But that's not all it does. Yarrow is also a fever reducer, a digestive aid, and one of the best herbs for breaking a sweat when you're trying to kick a cold. It's like a Swiss Army knife that grows out of the ground. The ancient Greeks called it herba militaris, the military herb. Soldiers carried it into battle like we carry first aid kits today. And here's the kicker. It's probably growing in your backyard right now. Those feathery leaves, those flat-topped clusters of tiny white or pink flowers, that's your battlefield medicine, just waiting. But yarrow's not the only plant that works this fast. Okay, I need you to forget everything you think you know about plantains. I'm not talking about the banana thing you fry up. I'm talking about that weed with the broad-ribbed leaves that grows in every lawn, every crack in the sidewalk, every forgotten corner of every parking lot on the planet. This is plantain, broadleaf plantain. And if you learn only one plant from this entire video, honestly, make it this one. Here's why. Plantain is what herbalists call a drawing plant. What does that mean? It means when you chew it up or crush it and slap it on a bee sting, a spider bite, a splinter, even a nasty infected cut, it pulls stuff out. Toxins, venom, infection. It draws it right out of your body. I know that sounds like folk medicine mumbo jumbo, but there's real science here. Plantain contains a compound called aucubin that's antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. It also has allantoin, which is the same thing they put in expensive skin creams to promote healing. And it works fast. Like, put it on a bee sting and feel relief in 5 minutes fast. There's this story, might be folklore, might be true, about a hiker who got stung by a wasp on her throat. It started swelling. She was miles from help. Her friend knew plants, though. Grabbed some plantain, chewed it up, made a poultice, stuck it right on the sting. 20 minutes later, the swelling was going down. She walked out of those woods on her own 2 feet. Now, I'm not saying plantain replaces proper medical care. I'm saying nature gave us a backup plan, and it's been growing under our feet this whole time. Speaking of things we step on without noticing. All right, this one might sound a little crazy at first. Stick with me. Cayenne pepper, the spicy stuff, the powder that makes your eyes water and your tongue catch fire. It can stop a heart attack. No, really. There are documented cases, and I'm talking real cases, not internet myths, of people experiencing heart attack symptoms who took cayenne pepper and had those symptoms completely reverse. Here's how it works. Cayenne contains capsaicin, which is a powerful vasodilator. That means it opens up your blood vessels. When you're having a heart attack, blood can't get to your heart muscle because something's blocking it. Cayenne helps push blood through, equalize pressure, and it does this incredibly fast. There's an old herbalist named Dr. John Christopher who claimed he never lost a single patient to a heart attack in his 35 years of practice, as long as they were still breathing when he got there. His secret? A teaspoon of cayenne in warm water, immediately. Now, I have to be crystal clear here. If you think you're having a heart attack, call emergency services, immediately. Do not just drink pepper water and hope for the best. But here's what's interesting. Cayenne also stops external bleeding almost as fast as yarrow. You put cayenne powder directly on a cut. Yes, it stings like crazy for a second, and it clots the blood fast. It's a circulatory system miracle worker, hot sauce medicine. Who would have thought? But wait. We've talked about stopping bleeding, drawing out venom, and helping your heart. What about when the problem is in your head? You know that feeling when your thoughts are racing so fast, you can't grab onto any of them? When your chest feels tight for no reason and you can't seem to take a deep breath? Yeah, that feeling. There's a plant for that, and it's probably in your grandma's garden. Lavender has been used for thousands of years to calm the nervous system. The ancient Romans bathed in it. Victorian ladies kept sachets in their pillows. Even hospitals today are starting to diffuse it in waiting rooms to keep patients calm. But here's what most people don't know. Lavender doesn't just smell nice. It actually changes your brain chemistry. Studies have shown that inhaling lavender essential oil increases alpha wave activity in the brain. That's the relaxed meditative state. It also reduces cortisol, your stress hormone. And it does this fast, like within minutes fast. There was a study where they had dental patients, some of the most anxious people on the planet, sit in a waiting room that either smelled like lavender or didn't. The lavender group had significantly lower anxiety levels. Their heart rates were slower. They reported feeling more calm just from smelling a plant. You can brew lavender tea, add a few drops of essential oil to your bath, or just crush some fresh flowers and inhale. Within minutes, your nervous system starts to downshift. That racing feeling? It fades. And if you love medicinal plants, drop number 4 in the comments and let me know you're still with me. Like this video while you're at it. It helps more people discover these natural remedies. Now, lavender calms you down gently. But what if you need something that works even faster? Imagine living on a South Pacific island. The sun is setting. The ocean is doing that thing where it turns gold and pink. And you're sitting in a circle with your community, passing around a bowl of something that makes every worry in your head just dissolve. That's kava. Kava comes from the root of a pepper plant called Piper methysticum, which literally means intoxicating pepper. But here's the thing, it's not intoxicating like alcohol. It doesn't muddle your thinking or make you sloppy. It just makes everything calm. The active compounds in kava are called cavalactones, and they work on the same brain receptors as anti-anxiety medications. But they do it differently, more gently, without the addiction risk, without the foggy feeling. People who drink kava describe it as everything's okay in a cup. Your muscles relax, your mind quiets, but you're still clear, still present, just peaceful. And it kicks in fast. Within 15 to 20 minutes of drinking kava tea, you can feel the shift. Your jaw unclenches, your shoulders drop, the mental chatter turns down. Now I have to mention, kava should be used responsibly. High doses over long periods can affect your liver, but occasional use in traditional amounts? It's been safe for centuries. The Pacific Islanders have known this secret for over 3,000 years. Maybe it's time we started listening. But not all calming plants work on your mind. Some work directly on your body. Okay, be honest. When's the last time you laid down to sleep and your brain just wouldn't stop? You know what I mean. You're exhausted. Your body is begging for rest, but your mind starts replaying that awkward thing you said 7 years ago, or worrying about tomorrow's meeting, or just spiraling into nothing. There's a plant that can flip that switch off. Passion flower, and no, it doesn't look anything like the fruit, is a climbing vine with one of the most alien-looking flowers you'll ever see. Purple and white and complicated, like something designed by a fever dream. But here's what it does in your body. Passion flower increases GABA in your brain. GABA is like the brakes for your nervous system. More GABA means your racing thoughts slow down. Your tense muscles relax. Sleep stops being this impossible thing you chase and becomes something that just happens. In clinical studies, passion flower performed as well as some prescription sleep medications without the grogginess the next day, without the addiction risk, without the weird side effects. You drink a cup of passion flower tea about 30 minutes before bed, and it's like someone dims the lights in your brain. Not forcefully, not artificially, just naturally. The Spanish conquistadors found this plant in Peru and thought the flower looked like the crucifixion. That's where the name comes from. But for us, it's the crucifixion of insomnia. Speaking of getting to the root of problems, here's a number that should blow your mind. Over 10,000 scientific studies have been conducted on turmeric. 10,000. This isn't some fringe herb that your weird aunt swears by. This is one of the most researched medicinal plants on the entire planet. And what that research shows is remarkable. Turmeric, that bright orange root you see in curry, contains a compound called curcumin that fights inflammation on a cellular level. And when I say fights, I mean it goes to war. Inflammation is the root of almost everything bad in your body. Arthritis, inflammation. Heart disease, inflammation. Alzheimer's, inflammation. Even cancer has strong links to chronic inflammation. Curcumin blocks the molecules that trigger inflammation. It's like throwing water on a fire before it can spread. And here's where it gets even better. Turmeric doesn't just reduce inflammation, it also protects your brain, supports your liver, and might even help prevent cancer. One compound, multiple miracles. Now, here's the catch. Curcumin on its own isn't absorbed very well by your body, but if you take it with black pepper, which contains piperine, absorption increases by 2,000%. That's not a typo, 2,000. So that's why traditional Indian cuisine often combines turmeric with black pepper. They figured this out centuries ago without any labs or scientists, just observation and wisdom. The golden spice, the inflammation assassin, the reason your joints might stop hurting. But inflammation isn't the only kind of fire in your body. Let's talk about nausea for a second. That queasy, green around the gills, please just make it stop feeling. Whether it's from motion sickness, morning sickness, food that didn't agree with you, or chemo treatment, nausea is one of the most miserable sensations a human can experience. Ginger destroys it. I'm not being dramatic here. Ginger has been proven, in multiple clinical trials, to be more effective than Dramamine for motion sickness, more effective than some anti-nausea drugs for morning sickness, and it works fast, like 15 to 20 minutes fast. The compounds in ginger, gingerols and shogols, work directly on your digestive system and your brain's vomiting center. They block the signals that make you feel sick. Here's a story. A friend of mine gets seasick, not just a little queasy, full-on, hanging over the rail seasick. He went on a whale watching trip and took ginger capsules beforehand, nothing else. He said it was the first time in his life he actually enjoyed being on a boat. No drugs, just a root. But ginger isn't just for nausea. It's also a powerful anti-inflammatory, a circulation booster, and it can help with menstrual cramps. Those same compounds that calm your stomach also calm the muscle contractions that cause period pain. One root, 100 uses, and you can find it in any grocery store. Speaking of common things that are secretly extraordinary, here's a plot twist for you. Every time you take an aspirin, for a headache, for pain, to protect your heart, you're essentially taking tree bark. Willow bark contains a compound called salicin, which your body converts into salicylic acid. And salicylic acid is aspirin. That's it. That's the whole thing. The pharmaceutical company Bayer didn't invent aspirin. They just figured out how to synthesize what willow trees had been making for millions of years. When you apply aloe vera to a burn, it does something remarkable. Studies have shown that aloe-treated burns heal faster than burns treated with conventional silver sulfadiazine cream, the standard medical treatment, and the relief is almost instant. That cooling sensation isn't just psychological. Aloe actually lowers the temperature of the skin and blocks pain signals. And it works quickly. Willow bark tea can provide relief within 30 to 60 minutes, which, when you think about it, is about the same as aspirin. But here's what's interesting. Some people who can't tolerate aspirin, because of stomach issues or ulcers, can tolerate willow bark just fine. The natural form is gentler on your digestive system. Mother Nature's painkiller, growing along riverbanks and in wet meadows, available for free if you know where to look. But what about when the problem isn't pain? It's infection? Vampires, apparently, were terrified of garlic. As it turns out, bacteria and viruses probably should be too. Garlic is one of nature's most powerful antimicrobials. When you crush or chop garlic, it releases a compound called allicin, which is basically chemical warfare against anything trying to make you sick. Studies have shown that garlic can kill bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. Let me say that again. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The stuff that modern medicine is terrified of. Garlic can handle it. It also works against viruses, fungi, and even parasites. It's like a broad-spectrum antibiotic that grows in the ground. But here's the catch. You have to use it fresh. And you have to let it sit for about 10 minutes after you crush or chop it. That's when the allicin forms. If you cook it immediately or swallow whole cloves, you're not getting the full benefit. During World War I, when antibiotics weren't available, soldiers used garlic juice on their wounds to prevent infection. It was called Russian penicillin because the Soviets used it so extensively. And it works fast. If you feel a cold coming on and you start eating raw garlic, crushed, let it sit, then down it with some honey to cut the taste. Many people report that the cold never fully develops. It's like you catch it before it catches you. The smell might not be great for your social life, but neither is being sick. Speaking of plants that fight infection, here's a plant most people have never heard of. And honestly, that's a shame. Oregon grape isn't actually a grape at all. It's a shrub with holly-like leaves and clusters of blue berries that grows across the Pacific Northwest. Inside its roots is a compound called berberine, which is one of the most powerful natural antibiotics we know of. Berberine has been shown in studies to be effective against E. coli, salmonella, staph infections, and even candida yeast overgrowth. It's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years to treat diarrhea, skin infections, and wound healing. But here's where it gets really interesting. Berberine also helps regulate blood sugar. Multiple studies have shown it to be as effective as the drug metformin for lowering blood sugar in type 2 diabetics. Same effectiveness, different source. And it works through multiple pathways, improving insulin sensitivity, reducing glucose production in the liver, slowing the breakdown of carbohydrates. It's like a metabolic tune-up. Oregon grapefruit tea is bitter, really bitter, which is actually part of how it works. Bitter taste triggers digestive enzymes and bile production. But if you can't handle the taste, capsules work just as well. A plant that fights infection and balances blood sugar. Nature's pharmacist at work. But sometimes you don't need to fight infection. You need to fight something else entirely. Let me paint you a picture. It's Sunday night. Your throat feels a little scratchy. Your nose is starting to run. And you've got that heavy, achy feeling that tells you exactly what's coming. You're getting sick. What if you could stop it? Echinacea is one of the most popular herbal remedies in the world, and there's a reason for that. Multiple studies have shown that taking echinacea at the first sign of a cold can reduce both the severity and duration of symptoms. Here's how it works. Echinacea doesn't kill viruses directly. Instead, it supercharges your immune system. It increases the production of white blood cells, activates macrophages, the cells that eat pathogens, and ramps up your body's own defense mechanisms. It's like the difference between having a few guards at the gate and calling in the entire army. The key is timing. You have to take echinacea early, like as soon as you feel something coming on. If you wait until you're fully sick, it's less effective. Your immune system is already overwhelmed by that point. Native Americans used echinacea for everything: snake bites, toothaches, coughs, burns. They called it a cure-all, which is usually a red flag in herbal medicine. But in echinacea's case, the research actually backs up a lot of those claims. At the first sign of sickness, echinacea tea or tincture can help your body fight back faster. Not a cure, but definitely reinforcements. Speaking of reinforcements, here's a word you might not know: adaptogen. An adaptogen is a plant that helps your body adapt to stress, not by numbing you out or masking symptoms, but by actually helping your system handle more without breaking down. Ashwagandha is the king of adaptogens. This root has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 3,000 years. Its name literally means smell of the horse in Sanskrit, which is, well, not the most appealing marketing. But it refers to the strength and vitality it's supposed to give you. And the research backs it up. Studies have shown that ashwagandha reduces cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone, by up to 30%. It improves sleep quality. It increases testosterone and fertility in men. It enhances endurance and recovery in athletes. It even appears to help with anxiety and depression. But here's the most interesting thing. Ashwagandha doesn't give you a burst of energy like caffeine does. It's more subtle than that. Over days and weeks of consistent use, you just handle things better. Your baseline shifts. The same stressors that used to wreck you don't hit as hard. It's like upgrading your operating system instead of just running more programs. You can take ashwagandha as a powder mixed into warm milk, the traditional way, or as capsules. Most people notice effects within 2 to 4 weeks. In a world that never stops demanding more from you, ashwagandha helps you have more to give. But what if you need energy right now? There's a plant that grows in the coldest, harshest, most inhospitable places on Earth: the Arctic, Siberian mountains, high-altitude regions where nothing should survive. And that plant has figured out how to thrive there. Rhodiola rosea is called golden root or Arctic root, and the Vikings used it to enhance physical strength and endurance. Russian cosmonauts have used it to handle the stress of space travel. Olympic athletes have used it to improve performance. And it all comes down to this: rhodiola helps your cells produce energy more efficiently. It affects your mitochondria, the power plants inside every cell, and helps them function better under stress. When you're exhausted, when your body is depleted, rhodiola helps you find reserves you didn't know you had. Studies have shown that rhodiola can reduce mental fatigue, improve cognitive function during stressful situations, and boost physical endurance. In one study, night shift workers who took rhodiola made fewer errors on cognitive tests than those who didn't. And unlike caffeine, rhodiola doesn't come with a crash. It doesn't borrow energy from tomorrow. It helps you produce more today. The dose matters with rhodiola. Too much can actually have the opposite effect and make you wired. Start low and find your sweet spot. The plant that learned to thrive in impossible conditions can teach your body to do the same. But sometimes the energy you need isn't physical. There's a tree that survived the atomic bomb at Hiroshima. While everything around it was destroyed, buildings, plants, animals, people, a ginkgo tree that stood about a mile from ground zero survived. It sprouted new growth the following spring. It's still alive today. This tree has been around for over 270 million years. It predates the dinosaurs. It's the last surviving member of its entire division of plants. And somehow, it's figured out secrets to survival that we're only beginning to understand. Ginkgo biloba improves blood flow to the brain. This means more oxygen, more nutrients, better function. Studies have shown improvements in memory, attention, and processing speed in people who take ginkgo regularly. But here's the really interesting part. Ginkgo also appears to protect brain cells from damage. It's rich in antioxidants that neutralize free radicals, the molecules that damage cells and contribute to aging. There's research suggesting ginkgo may help with early-stage dementia and Alzheimer's. The evidence is still being debated, but the potential is huge. Imagine a tree that could help us keep our minds as we age. The effects aren't immediate. You need consistent use over weeks or months to see benefits. But for long-term brain health, ginkgo might be one of the best investments you can make. A tree that outlasted the dinosaurs. A tree that survived nuclear destruction. And it might help your brain survive the modern world. But we've talked a lot about internal healing. What about your skin? You already know this one. Everyone knows this one. But do you know why aloe vera works so well on burns? Here's what happens when you burn yourself. Your skin cells get damaged, inflammation kicks in, blood vessels dilate, fluid rushes to the area, pain receptors scream. Aloe vera works on almost every single one of these processes simultaneously. The gel inside aloe leaves contains over 200 different active compounds. It has anti-inflammatory agents that reduce swelling. It has polysaccharides that promote healing and cell regeneration. It has glycoproteins that reduce pain. It has compounds that stimulate collagen production. When you apply aloe vera to a burn, it does something remarkable. Studies have shown that aloe-treated burns heal faster than burns treated with conventional silver sulfadiazine cream, the standard medical treatment. And the relief is almost instant. That cooling sensation isn't just psychological. Aloe actually lowers the temperature of the skin and blocks pain signals. The ancient Egyptians called it the plant of immortality. Cleopatra supposedly used it as part of her beauty regimen. And yeah, it's great for your skin even when you're not burned, moisturizing, anti-aging, acne-fighting. But here's my favorite thing about aloe. You can grow it on your windowsill. Just break off a leaf, slice it open, and apply. Pharmacy on your bookshelf. Speaking of plants you can keep around the house. If I could only have one plant for skin healing, it might be calendula. You probably know it as pot marigold, those cheerful orange and yellow flowers that brighten up gardens everywhere. But those pretty petals are hiding some serious medicine. Calendula has been used since ancient times for wound healing, and modern research confirms what herbalists have known for centuries. It speeds up wound closure, increases blood flow to injured areas, and stimulates the production of collagen and new tissue. But here's what's really impressive. Calendula also has powerful antimicrobial properties. It fights bacteria and fungi while it heals. So you're not just closing the wound, you're protecting it from infection at the same time. In studies, calendula has been shown to heal surgical incisions faster. It's helped diabetic patients with slow-healing ulcers. It's even been used successfully to treat radiation burns in cancer patients. You can make calendula oil by infusing the dried flowers in olive oil for a few weeks. That oil can then be used directly on cuts, scrapes, burns, rashes, basically anything your skin is unhappy about. The flowers are also edible and make a beautiful addition to salads, healing from the inside and out. But what if the problem isn't on your skin? What if it's in your lungs? Take a deep breath. Did it feel good? Easy? Clear? For a lot of people, breathing isn't that simple. Allergies, asthma, bronchitis, congestion. A million things can make every breath a struggle. Mullein is the plant that helps you breathe again. This tall, fuzzy-leaved plant has been used for respiratory conditions for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks dipped the dried stalks in tallow and used them as torches. It was called hag's taper. But they also smoked the dried leaves to clear the lungs. Ironic, right? Smoking something to improve breathing? But here's the thing. Mullein smoke isn't like tobacco smoke. It's actually an expectorant, meaning it helps loosen and expel mucus from your respiratory tract. The leaves also contain saponins that soothe irritated membranes and reduce inflammation. You can drink mullein tea for a gentler approach. The tea coats your throat and airways, calming coughs and making it easier to clear congestion. Many people notice a difference within hours. There's also mullein ear oil, made by infusing the flowers in olive oil. It's a traditional remedy for ear infections that actually works. The antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory compounds penetrate the ear canal and fight infection while reducing pain. 1 plant. Upper respiratory support, lower respiratory support, even ear support, the respiratory system's best friend. We're getting close to the end now, but I've saved some of the most powerful plants for last. Your liver is the unsung hero of your body. It filters your blood, it processes everything you eat, drink, breathe, and absorb through your skin. It neutralizes toxins, it produces bile for digestion, it stores vitamins and energy. It helps regulate hormones. And most of us absolutely abuse it without a second thought. Every drink of alcohol, every processed food, every medication, every pollutant in the air and chemicals in our products. Your liver has to deal with all of it. Milk thistle is here to help. The active compound in milk thistle is called silymarin, and it's one of the most well-researched liver protectants in the world. It has 3 remarkable effects. First, it stabilizes liver cell membranes, making them more resistant to toxins. Think of it like reinforcing the walls of your house before a storm. Second, it stimulates protein synthesis in liver cells, which helps them regenerate faster when damaged. Your liver is one of the only organs that can actually regrow itself, and silymarin speeds up that process. Third, it's a powerful antioxidant that neutralizes free radicals in the liver specifically. In studies, milk thistle has helped patients with liver cirrhosis, hepatitis, and damage from medications and toxins. It's so effective that it's actually an approved treatment for Amanita mushroom poisoning, one of the deadliest poisonings in the world. If you drink alcohol, take medications regularly, or just live in the modern world, your liver could probably use some support. Milk thistle is that support. And now for the final plant. I saved this one for last because honestly, it might be the most powerful of all. In India, this plant isn't just medicine, it's sacred. Families grow it in their homes as a spiritual practice. They pray to it. They never let it die. It's considered the earthly manifestation of a goddess. But here's the thing, the reverence might be scientifically justified. Holy basil, or tulsi, has been called the queen of herbs and the incomparable one in Ayurvedic medicine. And when you look at what it does, those titles don't seem like exaggeration. Tulsi is an adaptogen, like ashwagandha. It helps your body handle stress by modulating cortisol levels and supporting your adrenal glands. People who drink tulsi tea regularly report feeling more balanced, more resilient, more able to handle whatever life throws at them. But it's also antimicrobial. Studies have shown it effective against bacteria, viruses, and fungi. It's been used traditionally for colds, flu, and respiratory infections. It's also anti-inflammatory, helping with conditions from arthritis to allergies. It protects your cardiovascular system by reducing cholesterol and blood pressure. It may even have anti-cancer properties. Several studies have shown it can protect DNA from damage and induce cell death in cancer cells. This single plant works on almost every system in your body: nervous system, immune system, cardiovascular system, digestive system. It's like a master key. And here's the beautiful part. Unlike some of the plants we've discussed, tulsi is gentle enough to use every day. In India, millions of people drink tulsi tea daily, generation after generation, with no ill effects. The sacred plant that heals body, mind, and maybe even spirit. So there you have it, 20 plants that can change the way you think about health. From yarrow stopping bleeding on ancient battlefields to tulsi being worshipped in modern homes. From the humble plantain growing in sidewalk cracks to the ancient ginkgo tree surviving nuclear destruction. Nature figured all this out millions of years before we invented laboratories. These plants evolved these compounds for their own survival, to fight pathogens, heal damage, survive stress. And by some miracle of biochemistry, Those same compounds work in our bodies too. Here's what I want you to take away from this. You're not helpless. You're not dependent on corporations to decide what healing you have access to. The pharmacy isn't just behind a counter, it's growing all around you. In gardens, in forests, on mountainsides, in kitchen spices. Does this mean you should never see a doctor, never take medication? Of course not. Modern medicine saves lives, and these plants aren't replacements for emergency care. But they are tools. Powerful, ancient, proven tools that you can add to your health toolkit. They're backup plans, first-line defenses, daily support systems. Start small. Pick 1 or 2 plants from this list that address something you're dealing with. Learn them deeply, grow them if you can, use them, see what happens, and then pick 1 or 2 more. Before you know it, you'll have a whole garden of medicine growing in your life. You'll look at that weed in the sidewalk crack and see a first aid kit. You'll reach for ginger before reaching for Pepto-Bismol. You'll feel that cold coming on and know exactly what tea to brew. That's power. That's independence. That's connecting with something humans have known for thousands of years. If this video opened your eyes to what nature can do, hit that subscribe button. I make videos like this because I genuinely believe this knowledge can change lives. And the more people who see it, the more lives it can change. Drop a comment telling me which plant you're most excited to try. Was it cayenne for your heart, lavender for your anxiety, milk thistle for your liver? I read every comment, and your stories inspire me to keep making this content. And if you know someone who's struggling with health issues, someone who feels stuck in the pharmaceutical hamster wheel, share this video with them. You might be introducing them to a plant that changes everything. Nature's been healing us since the beginning. We just forgot how to listen. Now you remember, stay healthy, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.